Are
So
you able to
because
hear
when
me
we
clearly?
yes, I can hear you
Okay.
properly.
All right.
Yeah, just
Great.
give me a minute. Okay. So Smita, yeah, how was your day? How was your morning?
My
Sorry.
day. Yours is the first meeting, so yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So first thing I introduce my company, like what we are doing here.
Okay.
Okay. So we are architectures and designers firms. Okay, so right now we are collaborating with the top architectures designers firms around the world. Okay,
Okay.
we are helping them to source the materials. Like they can choose what kind of market trends, what kind of like let's say the architectures things that are using in a other project, let's say in a Europe or USA or India in a Far East. So we are
Okay.
helping them. Okay, and apart from that we also give the opportunity to the architects designers to like explore and like find the new buyers. Okay, so yeah, so should we start our interview?
Sure, sure, go ahead.
Yeah. So please tell me like how did you interested in become architecture?
Great. So, I was always interested in design, and I think doing home interiors was a passion from a very long time. I was very clear that I wanted to be an architect. And so I remember I applied to School of Planning and Architecture and I got in, and that was it. That was the start.
Okay, like you mentioned that you apply for the architecture and designer schooling. So, can you start from the beginning, like from your schooling or like your parenting or all the things?
Okay, so my father was in the government, so we used to move a lot through the transfers. And I remember one of the major things that we used to do is set up the house every time. And every house used to be very different. And it used to have a lot of problems, and we didn't want to live like in a mess every time. And we used to actually take effort and decorate every room, every house, and every transfer. I think that was one of the major I would say starting points of understanding space and possibilities and finishes and you know shapes of space and how that makes you feel. So we used to experiment a lot, and as a result, I think by the time I started in architecture school itself, I had done a lot of home interiors of my own home.
Okay, that's great. So, and what is the design process like, the conceptual and to finalize of a project?
Okay, so at reNNovate, we try to streamline the process. So we're very customer centric. Before we
Mhm.
start itself, we provide the customer a layout and a costing upfront because we are very clear that there are different budgets in which you can do design, and design and cost has to go together. That is something that has to change. Earlier, people used to do a slow process, do the design, then get the costing. A lot of time goes in that, and I think customers are now used to very fast turnarounds, and I think that is one of the changes that architecture as a profession needs to start, coming up to date, better use of tech in design so that, the customer interface is streamlined more. So a lot of our customers who come to us, they're very grateful that we have moved with the times, and they're very interested in knowing how design costs what, and they want to be clear before they start. They don't want to be in a fanciful dream world and then start and then fight with the designer. They don't want that, and now nor does most designers, frankly. So actually embracing tech, especially for cost, I think is a great thing that we have done. We have our own tech for that, and that has streamlined the process. Plus, we have a very clear 3D process of how to spatially explain to the customer and selections and then finalization. We finish the full design and then start. There is no in the process, it will build, I will get a great idea, epiphany as a designer. No, it's actually very scientifically done. If you can finish your design in 3 weeks, that's it. Then we move on to the next project. As a result, reNNovate does almost, in 2 months, in 45 days to 60 days, we finish projects. So in a year, we must be doing more than 50 projects.
Yeah, that's great. That's a lots of project in a year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how did you typically source products and material for your upcoming architecture's project?
See, we standardize a lot of materials because we not only provide the customer a great design, but we also provide them support afterwards because a lot of complaints in the market is, oh, I went to this designer, I got this home from them, and then after 1 year, everything was spoiled and in my hands. So we actually provide support post the design product. So the kind and quality of material we really, with great precision, shortlist and keep. So it is usually easily available, always in the market, locally sourced preferably, so that it has a very good and sustainable carbon footprint. That is a no-brainer from a lead perspective. And from a designer and post-installation perspective, if something goes wrong, you should not be hunting in the market for that unique product that was used 3 years ago. So it doesn't make sense from a customer. And as a designer, our creativity really lies in using what is there in a beautiful way, yeah, rather than getting that one Kohinoor and then using it in the customer's house, and then the Kohinoor is over and then the customer's crying. So we have a different, like, practical approach to it. But our designs are very good for using that standard product.
Okay, so like for that, like how did you like you mentioned that like you are the different categorize or you will source. So what are the process like for sourcing the products?
See, we source the products that give us good warranty and that have a good quality and are known as good brands. Like for instance, in hardware, we would go for Hettich or Hafele, or in ply, we would go for Century or Merino or something like that. In finishes also, we would go for branded finishes. So we try to partner with big companies that have customer recall and that the customer can also identify with quality, because we as a brand are bringing design value. So the customer is looking for design value, they think reNNovate. And for others like materials, they are thinking of their brand value. So if you can bring brand value and yourself, then that really, clinches the deal. No, if I go for some material that, is one product from Italy or Germany, or even in India, Karigari product, then it becomes very difficult to vouch for its consistency. So if I do 20 projects with it, should be same in all 20.
Yeah. So and like so that's why like you also mention your on your YouTube channel like the Asian Paint like your product. So that's why the one of the reason. Okay. And what are the challenges that you are facing like from your beginning and now, like in your career, like in architecture?
I think the challenges really are always there, because I think in India, unlike a lot of countries abroad, there is no standard floor plan for a house. There's no standard, plot. So in other countries, even from urban planning point of view, there are standard plots. So you get standard homes and standard buildings. In India, neither are the plots standard, neither are the roads standard. So the flats are not standard. I think one of the biggest challenges in adoption of even spatial tech or AI or whatever it is that is coming up is the non-standardization that is there in the market. I think that is there not just in design, it's there in all the products and the quality of products. That non-standardization, I think, is one of India's biggest challenges right now, which when I was working abroad, I never had this in Singapore or US. This is an India problem.
Okay. Yeah. And like how did you stay updated like with the latest trend and material and technology in the field of architecture?
So that is a very good question, because things are constantly changing, be it
Mhm.
software, be it rendering, be it AI in rendering, be it new materials, Chinese materials, Italian materials, Italian brands that are so entering into India. So it is actually
Mhm.
a challenge. We have to keep going to the market, keep checking out new products. Of course, customers are the biggest, I would say they source and search products in a way that, keeps telling us. We get a lot of customers who call in, who inquire with us, who love our videos. And then let's say, I saw this material. Can you use it in my project? I'd be happy to go ahead. And you're like, where did you get this from? And then you go and find out, and then you say, okay, let's do it. Let's try it. So yeah,
Mhm.
there are two parts to it. You have to keep updating, otherwise someone will point it out कि ये करना चाहिए.
Yeah. And Like how did you approach it, like site analyze and the context of of your design process? Like you mentioned that the Indian market, there's no standardized. So how did you like analyze the site?
See, analysis of site is still simpler, but putting in the personality and requirements of each customer is actually the harder part. So in site analysis, of course, we check the lighting and the spatial and the technical problems, and that is one part. But then the other part is personalizing to each customer requirement to get those two together and to make it work with something that you would like, because definitely there are people who come to us with designs that we would not want to make, or with sites that are not like that exciting to work with. But sometimes it just, the confluence of those challenges bring about very nice design outputs. So we work with all the challenges and it's fun. In fact, I'll tell you, why when you have a very challenging site and a very challenging customer, you cry the most, but the output is usually the best.
Yeah, the same things go on from my side as well. Because when you face the challenges, so you will also you will face also the new experience in your life. So that will gives you like better opportunity or
Yeah,
the things you will apply in new.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Can you describe your experience with the construction documentation and including the drawing and specification of contracts?
See, specification of contracts, luckily at reNNovate, we've been able to be very streamlined because we have our own teams, and the teams have been trained to read drawings and to coordinate with each other. But from the drawing point of view, again, there are a lot of old redundancies that I have personally tried to remove, because I see a lot of people who come in, join our teams, and they've been making drawings specifying the thickness of ply or specifying the rebate between two shutters. I think there are some standard things in the market. Any carpenter would know how to do it. So, making the drawing khach khach was one of the things that we were taught in college, but in fact, it is not at all useful. What the carpenter wants to know is if there is any difference in the detail. Otherwise, he's not interested in those standard drawing books becoming fat or anything. So we have tried to remove all the redundancies. In removing of redundancies, you get streamlining of process, less mistakes, faster design sets, and easier design execution. Of course, mistakes are there because everything is happening from a human perspective. But yeah, I think we are very open to streamlining, changing, moving with the times, updating, and that has been the secret of our success.
Okay, that's nice. And yeah, okay. How did you approach like clients presentation and communication of your design concepts?
So, see, again, unlike traditional setups, we provide the layout immediately, free of cost, so that is the first step that a customer says, okay, I get it, I'm buying a sofa, bed, whatever, wardrobe, and this is what it costs. So the layout we do not charge for, and the reason is I don't think there's any design in a layout. उसमें कोई भी कर सकता है. The fun part is really the 3D, and our entire process from the first day the customer signs up with us is the 3D. And we work till the end, till the customer finalizes all his selections in 3D. And then we translate it back into drawings, because actually people don't understand drawings. Only designers understand drawings. So it's better
Okay,
to communicate in a language they understand.
yeah, that's a good point. Okay, and okay, or can you discuss like your approach integrating technologies such as building information modeling BIM or into your design process?
So currently we are not using BIM models for interiors, but we are using BIM models for buildings. Again, a successful BIM model would be Revit in India. And it is important that other consultants like structural consultants, MEP consultants also use it. Otherwise, this interoperability of software is in fact very painful. That's why everyone comes right back to CAD. But besides that, in interiors, everyone, uses SketchUp and CAD only. I don't think anyone's using Revit as extensively. There are other softwares that we have tried in the past and not found it to be as useful because you have to keep converting to another software. That doesn't make sense. But yeah, I think it would be nice to have a good parametric software, to have a good BIM software that has enough market penetration that it is used by everybody. So you get, employees who can use it in your office and they don't need fresh training. And, it is used by all consultants and everybody. Then it becomes easy to adopt.
Okay. Or how did you approach a creative uh, in like a space that considered deserve use needs and expensive experience? Sorry.
Could you repeat that?
Yeah. So how did you approach creative space that consider users needs and experience?
So that is a given. User need and experience is designed for us. If the user need and experience is not happy, we are not going to get a good review. We are not going to get referrals. So that
Mhm.
is step number one. We will definitely provide user delight. And after that, we add our own design styling to it and something that could give us creative satisfaction. But user delight is step number one for us.
Okay. And can you discuss your experience working with a local building codes and regulation? How did you ensure the compliance in your designs?
No, we work with local building codes right now. If you work in any reputed builder society, you have to work with their fire norms, you have to work with their building norms, you have to work with their elevation directions. You have to comply, otherwise they will stop the work. So I think compliance has become compulsory, even from municipal corporation. If you're not complied, it's pretty much not approved. So I think there's no question of non-compliance. You have to comply.
Okay. And how did you approach the budgeting and a cost management in your projects?
So, like I said, we have our own proprietary tech that
Mhm.
we keep updating for costing because, see, from a designer point of view, it's very hard to be creative and be able to do design and to be able to do cost. But from the client side, cost is what they do. They may not know design, but they're usually people in tech or finance or legal, and money and cost is important to them. So I think the first thing that modernization of interiors or architecture needs to do is get your costing right, and that's what we have done. And we develop, standardized materials so we can get standardized costing. And there are, of course, new things that come in the market, and that compliance also we try to incorporate into the tech. But for us, costing is super important. We discuss it from get-go. We are not at all, shy about it. And we are also very, educational in our approach to the client. So anybody who joins reNNovate also gets a crash course on costing first. It's not all about design. It's design plus cost.
Yeah, okay, that's great. And thank you, Sumita. Like next to speaking with you, and like I hope you will also enjoy this interview. And thank you.
Sure, sure. Yeah, likewise. And do share the links. We'd be happy to, put it up on our social handles as well.
Yeah, sure. Why not? My team will share with you. Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks, Ankit.
Bye.